Hey everyone, welcome to Past Lives and the Divine. I'm Gina, the host of this podcast, and this is where we do that. We talk about past lives and the divine. And today I am sharing a recording with you, a recording of my most recent past life regression. And it feels weird even saying that because I'm pretty sure I was in the future and on a different planet, which is wild to say. But just a little bit of context for this past life regression. I lead a membership group called Kinship, and you can find that on my website. If you go to pastlivesandthedivine.com, click on Work With Me, you can click on Kinship. And in this monthly membership, there are a lot of opportunities to meet, connect with other people with similar interests, just have more conversations about spirit guides, past lives, you know, all the things, all the astral traveling that we can do. And one of the things that's included in the membership this year is 2 live past life regressions. So there was the opportunity, if you were a Kinship member, last week to watch this on Zoom. So Sarah Leverett from Intuitive Empowerment, who's been on this podcast many times, and her information is linked in the show notes. She's the one who led me on this journey. And if you listen to this and you're like, oh, I want a past life regression so bad, get on my email list. Go to pastlivesandthedivine.com and get on my email list. I will be opening up my fall hours for one-on-one sessions with clients in the fall. So if you get on my email list, I will let you know when that opens. And that will be, I'll probably send an email like July-ish, I think. So get over there if you're interested. And if you're like, want one right now and you can't wait that long, I completely understand. So I always refer people to Sarah Leverett. So if you listen to this and I don't know how you wouldn't be relaxed by Sarah's voice, but if you're wanting a past life regression sooner than you can get in with me, feel free to hit up Sarah Leverett. She's kind of my go-to right now if I need someone to facilitate a past life regression for me. So I would love it if you showed her a little love and even said hi or scheduled a session with her. Okay, again, her stuff is linked in the show notes below. So before we get into this past life regression, I just want to remind you, if you are, because I get a lot of like direct messages about this and I get some emails about this, but if you're wondering how to work with me, I do virtual sessions only, and it's a little bit longer story, but those virtual sessions for a session like this, a hypnotic session where we're accessing past lives, accessing future lives, alien lives, it just works better on Zoom. Everybody's a little bit more comfortable, and then I can see clients all over the world because, as you can imagine, living in Minnesota, it's not like I have a line of people outside my door to do this freaky work. Okay, anyway, if you're interested in working with me, I do virtual sessions. Yes, for sure. Again, get on my email list so you will know when I open up my fall hours. If in the meantime you're interested in more, I also have my membership group, which is Kinship. You can go to pastlivesandthedivine.com, click on Kinship, learn more about that. You can join if you want. The membership is for the year. So if you join, you get access to everything that we've covered, in the first part of the year, and then you'll get access and opportunity to join other live events like the next live past life regression, or we do 2 monthly gatherings where we get together and discuss different things. Sometimes we go on hypnotic journeys. So definitely check that out. Okay, a little bit about this past life regression. So I went into it with the intention to just like be open, like show me whatever it is that I need to see right now. I'm sensing just some changes with this podcast. A big part of me is just like, oh, I want to, I would almost want to release like a couple episodes a week, but I just like do not have the bandwidth for that. And it's kind of a struggle just trying to figure out how to finesse that, because I don't want to stop doing the podcast and I have so many ideas and I just have a lot going on right now. Another thing Sarah Leverett and I are doing, we have created a hypnosis training. So we're leading our first group through that. It's a pilot group. It's just a really small group where we can kind of hone in on the delivery and kind of the rhythm of it. But anyway, I added that onto my schedule and then just like kept working as usual, which, you know, we only have 24 hours in the day. I need to sleep a lot. And so I've just kind of piled on this work and haven't really taken anything off my plate. Whatever, it happens. So I had a question of like, what is this feeling that I'm feeling around the podcast? I just kind of feel like this stuck feeling, like I want to make a change and I feel like I should lighten it up. But every time I go to think about like, okay, how could I lighten this up? Just all the episode ideas I have and all of that. Honestly, whenever I go in to like lighten it up, I just get more ideas of like other things that I can do. So I was really just seeking clarity around that. I'm not really tied to any sort of, I don't really get off on any sort of productivity. Like I don't feel better about myself when I work a lot. I actually listen to my body and I feel worse when I like push it. So I was just really like, what is this feeling that I'm feeling? Why does it feel so confusing? I feel like I want to go one way, but I feel like I want to go the other way. So Sarah, at the end of the past life, or it wasn't a past life, at the end of those other life scenes, we talk through all of that. Also just my relationship changes. I have a move coming up. I'm going to be changing my name. You maybe have already started to see some changes. So just some things in the works that are like in the works, but I, like a move, like a name change. I want to make these things special, but I don't know enough about them to do that. So I used this past life regression, this session with Sarah, to hopefully get some clarity on that. And I did. I also want to let you know, I'm excited to come back to this recording in like a few months because this life was, I think it's the best life I've ever experienced. It was just so serene, so beautiful. I had this really rich relationship with myself. And in that, relationships around me just kind of settled naturally. Also, I really got the sense that I looked human, but just the way we operated in our mind was completely different. And even looking back, like re-listening, just editing the recording a little bit, taking out like the really long gaps of silence, it just became more and more clear to me that how I felt in that past life was not something that was totally unique to me. It was actually something that was like just the way of life, just kind of how we all went about life. And it just felt so relaxing. I'm in a space right now where I'm just seeing how much people say they care or how much people say they want to operate in a certain way and then they just don't. For example, right now, if I were to quick and dirty tell you what I'm going through right now, it essentially feels like a midlife crisis. And you would be fucking surprised how many times I have to say that. And I've just gotten to a point where it's like, if someone's offended by my lack of energy to give them all the attention that they require to feel good, those relationships are just gone. Like, I don't have it in me. I really don't. And I've had, just in the past few months, a number of people who I really like, and I know they're good people, but it's like, I can't carry anyone else through my midlife crisis. Like, and so if someone is offended by it, or if someone gets angry because now I seem like my priority is me, that's been a real eye-opener and pretty hurtful, pretty disappointing. And so at one point in this past life, or in this session, I said something to the effect of like, I just feel like I'm around so many people who talk. And it's like, I'm done hearing what you think is right or what you want to do. Like, just fucking do it, you know? Even just asking for space from different people. And it's frankly disappointing how many people take so much offense to that in order to maintain that relationship, would have to like give them every fucking gory detail. And I think that's something that needs to change. It's like, just trust what we all say. Like, but then I look at it and it's like, most humans, at least in my direct orbit, that's not really how they operate. It's like, we say things that we don't really actually mean. It's almost like people talk in ways of like, this is who I wish I was, but I'm not. So you will get the wrath of my emotions. Even just really little things. Like, this is not like, I think this is just like a whole phase in my life. Even like a situation with a neighbor that I have is, it's just like, I like to have a bonfire in my backyard. I have one of those solo stoves. I know people don't like bonfires. Like, I'm actually really good at building a bonfire. There's not a ton of smoke, but there's smoke because there's fire, but it's more like a light smell in the air. I don't know. I do that because this is, quote, my property and it's legal and I have a permit for it. But I have a neighbor who like clearly doesn't like the smell of it. And he one time kind of made a passive comment about like, are you cooking? I was like, what? Am I cooking? No, I'm not cooking. And then he kind of huffed and like walked away from the fence. And from that, because I was fucking come from a family tree of passive aggressive dickheads like that, realized like, oh, he must have a problem with my fire. But he never said anything. I have another neighbor who likes to have a campfire every once in a while, and we'll text about him like, oh, he got mad at me, or oh, he doesn't like this. And I just don't have time for that. Like, here's what I do have time for. If you have an allergy, if you just fucking hate the smell of like, you know, beautiful clean wood burning in my safe little solo stove, then I would love to have a conversation about it. Like, should I just do it on Thursday nights? Can I give you a few hour heads up? Like, let's have a fucking conversation about it. And instead, a couple weeks ago, I was cleaning up my yard, just like a ton of sticks, you know, just like spring cleanup, sticks, leaves, dead plants, whatever. I don't know. I just don't want to bundle it up and put it in the garbage so it can sit in a fucking landfill when I could like do a little ritual and have a fire with it. And so that's what I was doing. And then cop comes in my backyard and the cop's like, how's it going? Not good. I have a cop in my backyard. What's up? And it was just basically like, oh, someone called in this fire. Are you okay? What are you burning? And so just having a conversation with the cop, who was nice, thank God. Why would you call the cops on me? Just have a fucking conversation. Anyway, it's really a part of just these huge changes in my life and just this awareness of how I wish people operated in a certain way. And I used to operate in a way where it was like, I wish they'd operate like this, so I'm going to operate in a way that and it's like, no, like people don't do that. And that was really a cool thing to see in this past life, because everybody's actions and words aligned, and everyone had like a real reverence for other people and other people's ideas and thoughts. And it was equal. It wasn't like someone's better than the other person. It was just this really great life, like a life that I strive to create, at least that internal atmosphere inside of me. Another thing too I'll say about it is doing this as a live past life regression, knowing people were watching, that was something that I had to like focus on real, like in the induction, as Sarah was kind of leading me through the induction before we get to that first scene. I was surprised how much I felt like I had to really focus. But then the moment I focused and the moment we got into that first scene, it was just kind of, it was like riding a bike. Like, oh, I know people are listening, but I was almost, I was almost more like, oh my God, what is this life? And was kind of taken out of the fact that people were watching. And then at the end, I was just like, oh God, people were watching and it was like a life on another planet and in the future. It just seems so sensational. But I am just really excited to share this with you. And I'm excited to come back and like process this in a few months. I think it's really going to change just how I feel on the inside. I mean, it already has changed how I feel on the inside. And another thing I want to say is like sometimes when I release podcast episodes like this where like I'm super vulnerable, I get messages from people a lot who are like, "Oh, thanks for sharing that. I need to hear that. Great." I think that's great. But sometimes I get messages from people and I think, are they concerned for my mental health? And I just want you to know that, especially in this small window, like this rant that I just went on about my neighbor, I am just aware of all this bullshit more now than ever, but I feel like happier and freer, like having clarity around it. And I think that that is the thing. A lot of times we can feel something is off. It becomes this heavier weight because there's confusion around it, where for me, even just clarity, knowing what I'm dealing with is like, okay, now I can deal with it moving forward. But that clarity piece sometimes that alone, no matter what the clarity is on, can give me a lot of peace. And I feel like that was another gift of this session with Sarah Leverett. Okay, so I am going to be just taking a couple weeks off the podcast. I am taking a trip to look at some new places to live. I have kind of a longer road trip. So I will be back in a couple weeks with a new podcast episode. And in the meantime, you can go over to pastlives.tourguide on Instagram. That's my Instagram handle. And I don't know, follow me there if you want. You can follow along on the travels. Or if you'd rather not, just make sure you're on my email list. So then you'll get a notification when I'm back with an episode. You can also subscribe on whatever platform that you listen to this podcast on. All good things. Yeah, so you'll blink and I'll be back. You won't even notice. Okay, are you ready? Gather around the fire for my session with Sarah Leverett.
When you're ready, just let me know what it is that you're aware of.
I'm inside this little cottage. And it's me and someone else. And it's really good. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah.
We're I don't know if we live here together, but this is my cottage. And it's a man, and I just know he's there. I don't know what he looks like or anything. And we were just, I don't know, kind of weird. Like we were just like fighting kind of, but like laughing super hard. And it just feels like, it feels a lot just like, maybe just like kind of new relationship energy, but it almost feels like that, but like older. I don't know how else to say it, I guess.
That's perfect. So just stay with whatever feelings come to the surface here. allowing yourself to experience the full spectrum of those emotions. Does anything else stand out to you about this particular scene?
I don't know if it's me in the scene or if it's me as Gina, but it's almost like this feeling of like, oh fuck, now what? Like this is not gonna last. And it's a really quiet feeling, but it's like kind of lurking on the edges.
Yeah. And as you bring in the details of this cottage, can you get a sense of the time period or where you might be?
It feels, I don't know the time period, but I'm kind of in like, I don't know, I guess I'm having a hard time placing it. Kind of like Victorian era, but I mean, it's kind of like steampunk, like that, like grittier than Victorian era, but I don't know. I don't know what. Yeah, and I just kind of live in this. It's almost like a. I said cottage, but it's like a little. It's like in the earth. It's like some sort of like earth dwelling where it like looks like a cottage, but it's earth.
Is there anything else that stands out about this man there with you?
Not really. Like my feelings are so strong, and it's almost like I feel my feelings so much that I can't even feel his, which is nice. But when I kind of tune in, it's almost like he's got this, I don't know, like this double Dutch thing. Like he wants to go in, but then he backs out. He wants to go in, but then he backs out. Like he's there, but emotionally, it's almost like he's kind of in and out, like leaning in and then kind of pulling back.
Is there anything else to know in this scene?
There's a real like peer to peer or like almost like a coworker feel um to each other, but then there's also kind of this romantic loving energy. And I guess that's maybe what I'm reading when I say we're both here, but I really get the sense that like this is my space. And yeah, I don't know, we're like really close, but we're also kind of very, very individual from each other.
Does this feel complete? Are you ready for the next scene?
Yeah.
You'll be able to easily and effortlessly move to the next scene of importance in this life. Feel your awareness shifting there now. In 3, 2, and 1, in a new scene. Allow the details to come in however they may. Are you inside or outside this time?
I'm outside.
Tell me more about the landscape.
Oh, It looks like um, Utah, but it's not. It's got a similar vibe of like Utah and like petrified forest and even the Badlands, kind of like that look. Um, and there's like kind of spires around, but it's like very, very flat. And it's me and this guy. And okay, so we are like, oh boy, okay, so we are coworkers, kind of. God, I've been feeling this light coming in. So I think it's not just us here. This, I get the sense that we're on a different planet. Um, so it's not just us here, but like as far as our eyes can see, we can only see each other. Like there's other people there doing other things. And him and I are working on a project together, and we're kind of standing beside something that's super tall. I get the sense that we're kind of like preparing this space for something, almost like I don't know what we're getting it ready for, but we're getting this ready. It's kind of the same, almost seems like a similar landscape to that other life I saw on a different planet, but I'm a woman in this life. I feel like we're kind of not arguing about something, but we're not agreeing on how to do something. And I just want to feel into that a second.
Yeah, just feel into that.
I'm just feeling what it feels like to have a disagreement with someone and not want to fucking kill them. It's just something that I see in other people, and it's something that I want, but it's so simple, and so I'm just feeling that. Just of this inherent, like, I don't know if it's not taking it personally or believing that the other person just like, I don't know, a reverence for their opinion maybe. And I don't know if that's just the relationship between me and this man, but I get the sense that this is just how I am. So yeah, the disagreement is about something with the work we're doing, and we don't come to an agreement. He wanted to do something and I wanted to leave it. And we couldn't come to an agreement. So I just decided, well, if I were going to leave it, I would just leave. And there's like some frustration there, but it's just kind of like, whatever. And I'm driving away and I'm looking through my rearview mirror. I'm kind of like in this little truck thing. And I look in the rearview mirror and I can just see a landscape. Oh, and it's just like, it's so beautiful. And it's like, I'm so infatuated with like how beautiful it is here. And people would say like it's barren, it's always kind of cloudy, but the light in the sky is just like, it's like ambient lighting all around. It's so pretty. And it's like I just have to look at the landscape and I just like am not concerned about his opinion. I get the sense that maybe in me at least, there's this like deep-seated reverence for other people and their thoughts and their choices, as opposed to just like railroading people with what I think I should do and then getting pissed if that doesn't happen. It's just really feels really good to be in her body, in this body, because she's so present. It's just so quiet and nice. Feels really good.
You deserve to feel really good. You deserve to be present. You have reverence for other people's opinions and viewpoints.
Oh, you know what? Ugh. I almost feel like it's not like alien life, it's like future, future, future. And I look human, but it's almost like the software inside of me is totally different. And the software inside everybody is totally different. Like, when you said reverence for other people's opinions, it was like this stark contrast of like, whoa, this is not Earth. Um, yeah, it almost just, God, the vibe being here is just like so serene, and everybody is just so serene, and they respect everybody. It just feels really good to not have to like second guess. Like, I just feel like I have so many people in my life right now who just fucking talk, talk, talk. And it's like, fucking walk it. I don't want to hear it. Like, if you care, act like it. Like, I don't want to hear you talk about it. That's, I feel like that's how I got so far into so many fucked up relationships. And like, none of that is here. Wow.
Do you have a name for this place?
No, it doesn't have a name, but it's just like this long line of numbers. When I'm like, what is this? It's just this long line of so many numbers. And those numbers are more like map coordinates. And so it's almost like me doing this work on this planet. It's almost like a name for it. It's kind of like, what? That'd be like, what's your first, last name, and your color? You know, like your favorite color or whatever. Like you just don't really think of it in that context.
Hmm.
But I get the sense that oh, it's almost like it will have a name, but based on what is found here or whatever we're doing here, it's like the name we would choose has more to do with like where it is and what happens on that planet. Yeah, I want a name. It's very, very like grays and purples. Remember Sarah and Sedona when I was like, I just want to fucking roll around in this red dirt. Like, I have never felt like I wanted to do that more. Like, that's the feeling. I feel like my soul was like, whoa, this looks a lot like this one planet.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, it feels so good.
Is there anything else in this scene, or are you ready to move to the next one?
Move to the next one.
Yeah, so just start to feel your awareness being pulled from the scene, knowing that you can take this joy and presence and reverence with you on your journey. Easily and effortlessly, you'll be able to move to the next scene of importance in this life. Moving there in 3, 2, and 1 in a new scene. Allowing the details to settle into your awareness. And when you're ready, just tell me what it is that you're aware of.
I'm outside. It feels like I'm on the same planet, but it looks very, very different. It's like super built up. And it's they're like these, oh God, like kind of like the Jetsons where there's like cars in the sky that are like kind of super high, which feels really weird to say, especially right now. Um, but I'm this little
old lady. I don't think I'm in a wheelchair, but I'm sitting kind of in this dark corner of these really tall buildings. And I'm just watching the world go by and just thinking about how much this place has changed. And it's this feeling of like this quiet pride of, I helped do this. And this kind of like sneaky satisfaction of like, and no one here knows that. Like no one would even guess it. Like, and that to me, like that kind of sneaky satisfaction was like, just feels so fulfilling. Like if people knew, it would be kind of like, oh yeah, I did that. And it would be fine, but it was almost like my kind of sweet little treat. I just have such a rich relationship with myself.
You deserve a rich relationship with yourself.
Yeah. And it's almost like I sit there and I also feel sad because it doesn't look the way it used to. But in the present moment, I don't know what this, I mean, I guess they're buildings, but I don't know, they're kind of stacked weird on top of each other, but it's like the landscape is gone, but the planet is still healthy. And whatever we're using this for, I don't know, I almost get the sense that it's like, I don't know if anyone else knows anything about the Mayo Clinic, but the Mayo Clinic is like a big deal in Minnesota. Like people from all over the world come to the Mayo Clinic for like, I don't know, good medical care or whatever. And I almost feel like this is kind of like a Mayo Clinic for like this corner of the universe, or it's not for this planet because no one was on this planet. It's like people are coming and going and they're getting healing here. And so it's sad that the landscape is not here, but the planet is healthy and a lot of people are being helped by this. Yeah, so I think I just like sit out here every day and just kind of marvel at it all.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about this scene?
Just my sense of peace and connectedness to who I am, and a deep like fondness and friendship. I feel like I've been wanting that for lifetimes and I didn't even know. I feel like it could solve so many of my problems if I just felt like that. Oh,
All right, it's time to move to the very final scene in this life. Moments before you take your last breath, you'll be able to find this exact moment right before your death. In 3, 2, and 1, finding yourself moments before you cross over. And when you're ready, just tell me what you're aware of.
I knew that it was getting close to the end. And so I always sat out there where I was in the previous scene. And so I sat out there, and every day when I sat out there at a certain time, this younger man would walk by. And I feel like he was maybe a family member or the man from the earlier scenes. I don't know. He's not like his kid, but like I know this young man through the man from the earlier scenes. And he would always walk by at a certain time of day. I don't know, like 3 o'clock. I don't get the sense they have time, but it was like every day he would do the same thing. And so, kind of around the same time, he would be walking by where I sat. And depending on his life and my life, sometimes we'd chat, sometimes we'd just say hi. And I don't know if I had asked him or if I just decided, but I planned it so I would leave my body and he would find me. And so I'm hovering above it, and he's like, moving me a little bit to be like, hey, how's it going? What's going on here? But his realization that I'm dead, oh, he's just like, oh, she left. And he like looks up to the sky and is like saying something like good luck or take care or something like that. I don't know. Uh, yeah, it's not like here where on Earth where it'd be like, oh my God, wake up, oh my God, get an ambulance, try to revive him. It was just like, oh, she left. Yeah, I kind of thought she was getting close to leaving. And he's like sad, but also like happy for me. And I just fall deeper in love with him, as much as I loved him before. I just am like, oh wow. But I get the sense it's not him, it's not me. It's kind of like whatever kind of derivative of human future or alien, I don't know, but it's kind of like who we are. It's like we've just got an understanding. Oh God, she's talking to me.
Tell me more about that. Who's talking to you?
It's like this other life me is talking to me. And I was just thinking, like, oh my God, there was like nothing bad in that life. Like, what, what I often think like, oh, you can't have the bad without the good or whatever. And that is true, but we can do it in a different way. And I felt like she or her or I guess, I'm reflecting on that life and just thinking, what was that life all about? No drama, no murders, like no big regrets. And it was like when I was thinking that, she turned to me and said, "You taught me how to do this." She said, "If time exists, you're starting right now." Of like, as cliche as it sounds, like just really trying to be in the present moment and like just loving the fuck out of our Mother Earth and just like loving the fuck out of people who are just like so good and so interesting around me. And it's like when my therapist asked me, like, well, okay, if you're going to visit this life as Gina from a different life, like, what do you want to get? What do you want to be a well for? And has really changed. It's just, it hasn't necessarily changed a lot for me, but it's changed like my perception on things and my motivation to like actually embody things. And I just want this, I said, I want this life to be the life where I like really fall in love with myself. And I can feel it happening. And she's like telling me, like, yeah, you taught me to do this. It's wild because I just sometimes feel like just everything feels so fucking hard. Oh my God. Fuck past lives. Look for the future. So I feel.
When things start feeling hard in this life as Gina, what is it that you can do to come back to this place?
Yeah. Music. I'm singing and dancing to music. It's just, I love it when I'm home alone and just smoke a little grass, turn on some music, and just like fucking dance. And that is just like what I'm being shown of like kind of a unique thing on earth, like music or our kind of music here on earth and how we absorb it in these earth suits. And so to sit down and get quiet and remember this future life, and to like find little things that spark that in me in this life, and then like make them a priority. And it sounds so simple, but to do it, yeah, just to keep doing it. It's like, yeah, now I just know. Now I just have like this memory, this future memory.
What is it that Gina needs to know about this upcoming move?
Yeah. It's almost like finding the line between like logistics, things we can control or prevent, and then just kind of letting go. And it's like uh, the saying, like, so just as a recovering Catholic person, I sometimes will say, just let go and let God, with like a little sneer in my voice. And it's like, yeah, let go and let God. But the God is like, for me at least, to focus on that spark that I am, that light that I am, focus on that. So it's like, do what I can, right? I have a region in mind and I have a few cities in mind. Go look, do the things, do it in the least expensive way, the least amount of effort, and then let go and let God. But like for me, that means let go of that stuff. Like now turn your focus inward to my friendship, inward to my just to my inner world, like my relationship with myself and the present moment that I'm in. And it's like vacillating between the two, like controlling and doing what you can and then coming back to the present moment.
Is there anything else that you need to know about the changes with your relationship with Alex?
So they said, I don't know, it was probably Dale talking. He just, I don't know, kind of like dropped a veil or a curtain, and it was like the change like the changes have already happened between Alex and I. And so now it's about, oh, oh God, there's a lot coming in. Okay, I'm just going to sit with this for a second. The changes are in my relationship to myself. And so the changes to be made with Alex have been made. And that opens up the door for me to, or not opens up the door, but just so I guess alongside that, cultivating that relationship and that like love and fondness for myself. The changes that really are happening are the changes with myself. But then it's like, oh, okay. So it's like, oh my God, that opening scene was so like love drunk, but very, very safe, very controlled. And it was more about me than him. I respected him, I appreciated him, but it was like almost like love drunk because the self love I had was like also bouncing off him and coming back to me. And so it's like restructuring what that's going to look like is not the work for right now, but like that's kind of like the next like intentional relationship work to be done, which will be done when it's at my doorstep. It's not like something I have to prepare. It's just like my goal of being a well of love and fondness for myself. It's like to focus on that, and then that romantic piece will pop into place. Because that is something I want, but it's going to look very different. I'm not in the, swiping left and right and hopping into this monogamous relationship with this person who hasn't had a conversation about sex since they were 13. It's like that's going to be a total overhaul, and it's like I'm not even that person right now. Who knows? Maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and be that person. But it's almost like it'll happen when it'll happen. It's not like anything I have to do.
All right, Gina, it's almost time to journey back. But before we go, is there anything about work or the podcast you need to know right now?
Yeah, it's just like it's just kind of like this gridlock within me of like I want to do more podcast episodes, but what I need to do is fewer podcast episodes. It's too much right now. And it's not like too much in a bad way. It's like I'd rather go play with my friends over here kind of thing. So it's like a good thing. Yeah, that okay. Oh, yeah, it's almost like a slow down and then things will become clear, but it's not going to make sense if it's not just something I jump to right now. It's like slow down and then organically something will come in. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So slow down and then the clarity will come as it's meant to.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, final question. As you celebrate your name change to Gina Sear, is there some sort of ritual or way that you can honor this new version of yourself?
Oh, I think it has to do with where I'm moving. I've never thought about how it's like could be on the same timeline. Like new name, new move. Yeah, it's almost like once I'm boots on the ground wherever I'm going. Yeah, it's something with the move. Like as that becomes clear, then it'll just be natural. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. This is what I'm gonna do for it. Because it's I don't know, like other people are involved. So I don't know. Wow. Okay.
All right, Gina. So just take a moment here to wrap yourself up in gratitude.
There it is. That is our episode for today. Again, I'll be back in a couple weeks with a podcast episode. So I'm taking a couple weeks off. Go to pastlivesandthedivine.com. You can also click in the show notes to get over there if you want to work with me on any level, one-on-one, in my membership group. You can also head over to Instagram, pastlives.tourguide, and follow me there. As always, take anything that makes you feel better, lighter, and just leave the rest.